Hey guys, Ken here, your Thrifty Apprentice, and happy Friday everyone. Hope everyone's doing okay. At this point, towards the end of last year, I did a watercolor paint palette tour. Last week and a half, I put up a color pencil tour. So it is time for the watercolor pencil tour. Disclaimer from the beginning of the video, this is not a ranking video. This is just a tour of all the watercolor pencil sets that I have here in the studio. Some of my thoughts about them as we go through them, hoping that it will give you some information you may have had about a particular set here or there. I'll let you know if the set is still available. I will be very honest, I have not checked any prices, so you guys will have to check prices and whether or not they're reasonable. So we're going to start with the kids category as always. I only have one set in this category for this go round, and that is the Faber-Castell Eco Pencil, grip Eco Pencils. Now, I no longer have the box. I'm not even sure what happened to it in all honesty, but I do have the pencils in this container that I picked up from, I believe it was Michael's maybe, or Hobby Lobby. It was probably Michael's. And this is what the pencil looks like. It is a triangular pencil, but it has like the little bubble grips on it to help it make it easy to hold a pencil and grip the pencil. And of course they won't roll away because of the shape of the pencil. Let me grab, I wasn't prepared, as you guys can see. I need to grab, I don't know where, here we go. All right, so as always, let's see. We're gonna kind of, look at the pencils side by side with each other. So last time we did a red, let's do green, love green. So this is, they didn't have color names on them. But the pencils actually aren't really scratchy. They have a lot of pigment payoff for it to be a kid's grade pencil. I think this is actually a really great place to start. I've tried a lot of economical brand pencils, and for this to be a kid's brand, I really put it in like the student grade range because it performs really, really well. And it disperses pretty well in water. I'm just gonna grab a brush right quick. And this is mixed media paper. So it moves pretty well in water. The pigment doesn't really just dissolve off the paper as you're using it like it does with a lot of budget brands. And I actually like this pencil. So, and it's really economical. It's definitely one that I would recommend for beginners. If you're just getting interested in watercolor pencils, but you're not sure it's something you really want to invest a lot of money in, you want to test the medium out to see how it operates, then I think this is a great place to start. You can find them in most of your big box stores. I definitely know that they're in Michael's, and I'm pretty sure you can order them online from Amazon. But that's the Faber-Castell Eco Grip watercolor pencil. It comes in like the red box. Okay, so next up, we're moving on to the craft / student grade category. Now this first set that we're looking at, I actually do not know if they are available anymore. I actually picked this up in Books A Million. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's like the competitor for Barnes and Nobles. And this was a craft brand that I found in their novelty section. It's called Pen and Paper. They had a lot of little different items in there. I don't know if you can still get them. I have not been in a Barnes and Nobles in a really long time, but they were okay. For what it's worth, they're actually really scratchy. It's a really hard lid, but I'm not really pressing hard, and it's got some pretty decent pigment payoff. Sort of your middle of the range, middle of the road watercolor pencil. Now, I think the pigment in this one dissolves just a little bit more. Of course, that's a different color, and it's a little different shade, but I don't know if you can see that. I believe that the Eco Grip left a little bit more pigment on the paper. Now, ironically enough, whenever you are dispersing watercolor pencils, it's always my suggestion to use a synthetic head brush, preferably golden Teclon, or something that has harder bristles. That way it's going to push that pigment around. And you don't want to use a lot of water. You just kind of want to dampen your brush. Here is the swatching chart. It's a pretty decent range of colors. Again, I don't know if you can find them, but they weren't a bad buy. I think they were like under 10 bucks if I'm not mistaken. They're okay, you know. Moving on in that category, we have, which I no longer have the box for, but this is the Fine Touch. The Fine Touch is a house brand for Michaels. It's the one that they run alongside Master's Touch Fine Art Studio. Now, I have not been the biggest fan of Fine Touch products in all honesty, and these really aren't that much of an exception. I will say that they are, hold on, I'm going to sharpen, excuse me. I will say that they are an okay place, sort of like the Eco Grip to begin. But you know, it's like when you first start off trying something and you think it's good, you use a little bit more, it's okay. You try another product and you see the difference in the quality and realize how much better that product is. Now, this is actually a lot of bright color payoff, to tell you the truth, for an economical pencil. And these pencils are cheap. These pencils are under $10. And then you can use a 40% off coupon most times with Master's Touch and Fine Touch. So those aren't bad at all. They still aren't my favorite. My problem is, after so long, they sort of lose that luster, that beauty. They have a shift from wet to dry that I wasn't really happy with. That was my major issue with these pencils. Let me grab a pen. So here we had Faber Castell, and this is the Eco Grip. Then we had, which one was this? This was the pen to paper. Okay brand. That was the only kids. Now we're in the craft student. And then we just looked at the Fine Touch. Again, okay brand. You could probably find these a lot more readily. I'm sure you can a lot more readily than the pen to paper. It had a pretty decent color dispersion. Like I said, these are definitely like your sketchbook work type pencils. Don't expect the color to just hold and last for a really long time, because this swatch sheet was so much brighter when I originally did it. And that was, I want to say about 2.5, maybe 3 years ago. So that is those. Moving on, we're going to take a look at Artist Loft. Artist Loft is the house brand for Michaels. The Fine Touch was Hobby Lobby, and Artist Loft is the house brand for Michaels. Now, I have never been really happy with a lot of Artist Loft products. I like their paper. Their watercolor paper, they're 100%, they're 140-pound cold pressed watercolor paper, the level 2 artist paper. Let me be sure to say that, the level 2 artist paper. And see, that was my issue with these. They do not sharpen well at all. 1 second, guys. They do not, and they break. That was my issue with these. It wasn't that they performed terribly. Compared to the rest of them, they do not have a huge pigment load payoff. I'm using about the same amount of pressure as I did with all of the other pencils that we've tested above it, and I'm getting much less pigment payout. I had to do 2 or 3 additional passes in order to get, and they disperse okay. They move okay. They don't move the best. I mean, just not the better product. And as you can see, a lot of that pigment disperses away. It's not that it moves across the paper, it picks up, it erases almost. So definitely not one I would just readily suggest to anyone. I mean, they're okay pencils if you know, if that's all you have access to. You can pull off some beautiful work. I mean, I've pulled off some pretty decent looking work with this particular set of pencils, but I do believe that there are better pencils on the market relatively for around the same price. I would suggest the Fine Touch before I suggest Arteza Loft, and you can probably get those in the same range, if not cheaper. Okay, moving on to the last one in this particular category, we're going to be looking at Masters Touch Fine Art Studio watercolor pencils. This is the other house brand by Hobby Lobby. I like these pencils. I mean, just straight up. I'm gonna tell you, I mean, my review on these pencils was pretty good, I do believe. I think for a craft brand, they're really nice pencils. They are a pretty decent place to start. Now, I'll be honest, at the time that I bought them, it was back when Masters Touch, it was pre-COVID, back when Masters Touch still ran 50% off on all of their house brands. I mean, Hobby Lobby, excuse me, still ran 50% off on all their house brands. I don't think they do that anymore. Post-COVID, I think it's more like 40% off, and it's not all the time like it used to be. It's just, it's certain times when they're running it sale during the week. So you'll have to keep your eyes open for it, but you can get the pencils for 40% off. These are soft and they're kind of creamy. They glide across the paper. There's a nice pigment load payoff with a few passes. There was super light pressure. These dispersed easily with water. I mean, super easily with water. And you didn't lift a lot of the color off the paper. They stay there. They'll move. See there? Real nice. And I'm not scrubbing. I'm not scrubbing. So I think they're pretty nice. Pencil. I wonder. There's a huge green selection in here. Huge green selection. And see, I can go over that pigment again, and it's still not lifting off the paper. That's another issue with a lot of watercolor pencils. So, something to be considered. They're a nice brand. I suggest this one, actually, of all of the craft brands. Masters Touch would be my most recommended brand. I really like those pencils. I don't think you can go wrong with them. I think they're a really nice place to start. They're not a professional pencil, you know, so don't expect professional quality, but they are a really nice student grade pencil in the price range that they are, considering what other budget pencils are priced at nowadays. All right, that is the last one in the craft student. And we are going to move on to the budget student. So first up here, I'm just grabbing whatever is on top. First up, I no longer have the box for this set. But this is Marco Raffine watercolor pencil 36 count set. I picked these up from Jerry's Autorama in combination with the 36 count pencils, color pencil set. Very economically priced for 72 pencils, divided up into 2 different categories like that. I found that the pencils were very nice. They are a really decent budget grade pencil. They were one that got a good review from me. They were, oh, they're still nice. I like the glide of them on the paper. I like the coverage you can get with them. The pigment payoff is pretty decent. It's about as much as that Masters Touch was. I do believe these disperse a little bit better in water than the Masters Touch do, in all honesty. Now they actually make a, look at that. Look at that. That is beautiful. Just how easy that was. The pigment just dissolved and it left the swatch there. It didn't lift anything off. Oh. These are nice pencils, guys. I liked them then, I like them now, and they are super economical. I do believe I remember telling you in the color pencil tour that I like the color pencil set as well. I definitely suggest these pencils. Again, Jerry's Artarama, I'm sure you can get them in combination. 36 watercolor pencils, 36 color pencils. The colors and the numbers match across the range of the two pencils. So you'll have a color pencil to match the exact color of the watercolor pencil that you have. Really, really definitely suggest these pencils. Do not know what I did with my pen. Here we go. And this is Marco Raffine. Beautiful watercolor pencils. Now, mine are chipped a little bit, and that's from my mishandling, but they did sharpen really well, and I didn't have breakage issues, which is something I typically do have with a lot of watercolor pencils. These, and they weren't scratchy. They don't leave a lot of debris. They're not as soft as, but most watercolor pencils aren't soft per se. But these are not, the lid is not as hard as a lot of other budget grade watercolor pencils that I've encountered. So yes, definitely my recommendation in combination with, I would recommend these in combination with the color pencils. Great buy. Those are a really good buy. And those are probably some that I won't give away when I get ready to do my destashing, which is why I'm doing the tours, because I'm about to get rid of a lot of things. All right, next up on the list, we have Fantasia Artist Premium Watercolor Pencils. Now, I understand they say Artist Premium, but I still put them in the student grade category because I do not feel that they necessarily, they're sort of like a bridge. Maybe I should have put them in a category all of their own. They're sort of like a bridge between a student grade and a professional. Now, these are some really nice pencils. They are not expensive. They used to be in heavy rotation on Amazon and advertising. I'm not sure if they still are. I do know they make a color pencil set that matches the color range of the watercolor pencils. Amazon is where I got mine. They may still be, I think they're on my most recommended list of supplies in the video description, if I'm not mistaken, because I was really impressed with these pencils, especially for the price. Now, let me grab a green. These pencils gave me everything that I would want out of a pencil. My issue was the wood chipping away around the sharpening. And I'm glad I picked this one up. Now, I don't know if that is a characteristic of every one of the sets, if it just happened to be the set that I received. And I don't think in the review I was having an issue with that at that point. But I've used the pencil several times since the review, and that's something that I started to notice, is that the wood around the sharpening seemed to, I don't know, kind of chip away. That green one that I was just using is the best example of it. But they're nice pencils. They dissolve really easily in water. They spray pretty well. They leave decent coloration. I don't think they leave as much as the Marco Raffine do. But they are more budget friendly, especially if you're just talking about getting the watercolor pencils versus getting watercolor pencils and color pencils in a combined set. These are one of my top recommended budget grade products. You guys know I'm a watercolor pencil hog. I love watercolor pencils. They're probably my favorite product to work with. And these are some that I work with on a regular basis, and they are really nice. I haven't had many of the paintings that I did with them lose any coloration. I've been using them for quite some time. They have a really nice color range. Really do. Really, really nice. 36 colors. Okay, let's move on. We're moving on to, let me grab another piece of paper here. And we are going to move on to Brunyzeel Rijks Museum. This is a 24 count of watercolor pencils. Now, ironically enough, another set that I bought in combination with the color pencils, and the color pencils were just kind of standard and run of the mill to me, but these were pretty good. They are so bright. Look at this. Look at the swatch. And I swatched these, I know, over a year and a half ago. Maybe a little bit longer, but definitely about a year and a half ago. These are nice pencils. Really nice pencils. They don't have color names. That was the one thing I did not like about them. And there's a lot of budget grade products that don't come with color names on it. And of course, because it's budget grade, it also does not come with any light fast information, which is something that is indicative of most professional watercolor pencils. And I don't know if these were necessarily meant to target professionals, but like the Fantasia, I think that they are really close to being there with just a few things that keep them from crossing over that line. I use a little bit too much water there, but that disperses so beautifully. Look at that. Really nice pencil, really nice color payoff. Pliable pigment, meaning that they move easy. You know what I mean? That you don't have to scrub to get the pigment to move across the paper. Not an American product, but a really great product. Not that a lot of products aren't American products, but I mean, this company is European, if I'm not mistaken. These pencils are made in, oh, this is a Raw Talents product. So these, they're going to be made in China, but we all know Royal Talent very, very well. Very, very well. I forgot these are Royal Talents. But yeah, there you have it. Brunyzeel, Holland, Rijks Museum. I do recommend these. I mean, there are going to be other sets that I think are more readily available, especially if you don't want to have to wait on a mail order. But if you don't mind waiting on a mail order, this is another set that I would recommend alongside the Marco Raffine. They're sort of like in the same category in my eyes. Except for the color pencils, because Marco Raffine wore them out on the color pencils. Next, we're going to look at what used to be my absolute favorite set of pencils. This is the Faber-Castell original 24 Goldfaber watercolor pencils. Now, I said originally 24 because there are actually 48 in here. I was so impressed with these pencils after testing and reviewing the 24 that I bought the other set. I bought the other colors open stock. I don't have them in here, but I bought the other colors open stock. So these are really nice pencils. They have a harder lid than any other pencil we've actually looked at. And at the time, I didn't realize that you could get a watercolor pencil in a softer lid. But that doesn't stop them from having a huge pigment payoff. That doesn't stop them from being very pliable with the water. They're very bright. They sort of give you like a traditional watercolor feel, in my opinion. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, once they're painted out into a painting and they dry down, it sort of looks like that old watercolor to me. The pictures I grew up seeing, I don't know. Maybe I'm not making sense. I hope I am. But this is Faber-Castell Goldfaber. This is a step up from the Eco Grip pencil that we looked at earlier. I suggest both of them. And you know, there's going to be a lot of stuff I'm suggesting. I'm not saying run out and buy it, but I think that these are products that are not bad quality for the money that they charge for them. That's what I mean when I say I suggest them. Let me make sure I'm making that very clear. Definitely not suggesting that you run out and buy them. Some are going to be more accessible than others. Some have, there's not a huge quality difference between a lot of them that I say I suggest. A few minute differences here and there, but not so much that it would matter what set you chose. So that is Faber-Castell Goldfaber. Let's go ahead and move on here. Next, we're going to be looking at Steadtler. This is Steadtler 12 count of tinted watercolor pencils. Here's a company that I honestly believe is kind of slept on. It's a European company. I think they're German. Yeah, these are German-made pencils. Now, I also reviewed Steadtler's dual brush pens a couple of years ago, and I really like those pens. And I can say the same about these pencils. I had really good review of these pencils. These are their tinted pencils, so the shades are darker. We're not going to get the exact same shade here, so I'm just going to use this green. But man, oh man, when I tell you, and I use them in combination when I was trying to, you know, kind of make my own granulation effect, because they kind of added a tint to the little formula I was using, and I was really impressed. I used these pencils a lot back then when I was testing them. I use them in a lot of different paintings. Look at that beautiful color payoff, man. These pencils are amazing, and I really think Steadtler is underrated for their products, especially here in the United States. This happens to be one of the better companies. I like their a lot of them, and I'm not sure if their products target students in Germany, but if this is a student grade, then it puts a lot of other, I mean, if this is like a scholarly grade, a school grade per se, then it puts a lot of student grade, budget student grade pencils to shame, which is why it's in this category. What I do know is I definitely suggest these pencils, and they're not expensive at all. You can get them on Amazon for like dirt cheap, seriously. I think they enhance color, watercolor pencil work so much. Definitely recommend these. Actually, it's so funny. Because of the availability of them, because of the price of them, because of what I know they add to like a regular watercolor pencil set as far as shading that set out and helping to round it out, I would suggest these over anything we've covered so far. I really would. Only because of all that stuff I just named. Not saying that they are better than any other pencil that we've looked at. I'm just saying based on those factors that I just laid out, I get them. I would say get these. If you're gonna get anything, get these. These are nice. I like those. Like those a whole lot. Next up, we got Royal and Langnickel Essentials. Now, this is, for me, Royal and Langnickel is kind of controversial because I don't know whether to really classify them as a craft brand or as just a budget art company. I know that I love their brushes. Their brushes are absolutely amazing. These pencils weren't bad. Excuse me. These pencils were not bad at all. I don't think they dispersed really well in water. That was my issue. At the time, I did recommend them because this was back when I think lockdown first started. There wasn't a lot of things available. I think that they were pretty decent for the fact that you could run into any big box store, pick them up, considering what else was out there on the market, like, say, Michael's, Artist Loft, which, yeah, no. This would be my alternative for that pencil, definitely, because you can literally run next door to like a Joann's or even Walmart in some cases, and pick this pencil up. See, they perform about as well as, say, the Fine Touch or Master's Touch from Hobby Lobby. Which is why, again, I really kind of, for me, they ride the fence between being craft and budget. They really do. Do I recommend them? I think they're pretty cool pencils. And they're really cheap. They are really cheap. And I think they're a good place to start. So if you just wanted to pick up a pack to try out watercolor pencils, or maybe you just use watercolor pencils in like mixed media work, or maybe doing card making, things of that nature, then I think they work perfectly in an atmosphere like that. I really do. Next and last, we're in this category. This is I no longer have the packaging for this, and this is where this is housed. It just is what it is, guys. Don't laugh at me. Okay. So we're taking a look at Arteza Woodless watercolor pencils. Oh, guys, I love these. I love these. I love these. I love these. I love these for so many reasons. First, let's start with the fact that this is a pure pigment stick. It is all pigment. There's no wood. It's not encased. It's got some type of, I don't know, wrapping on it. I don't know what to call it. Maybe like a lacquer or something that holds it and is binding together, but it's all pigment. Like there's no wood. I love the different angles you can color it holding the pencil because of that. It's really soft. It glides. You see that? It glides. And it lays down quite a lot of pigment on one pass. So you can build up the color really quickly with these. I don't have to sharpen. You can sharpen them to get a sharper lead. And I take those shavings when I'm sharpening and put it in a palette, because you can add water to that and actually paint with that because it's all pigment. These are amazing. There are other products out there. I know Master's Touch actually makes a all pigment watercolor stick, a woodless watercolor pencil. And as you can see, they disperse really nicely in water. They're really bright and vibrant. They haven't lost any of the luster. See, that green looks the same there. These were swatched out over a year ago. Look at that. That's nice. Now, of course, they have been closed up. I don't suggest any watercolor pencil at all for commission work. Wait, I take that back. We'll talk about that in a minute. I don't suggest most watercolor pencils at all for commission work, or anything that you're going to hang directly in sunlight. Most watercolor pencils I've encountered, I do not believe are light fast by any shape of the imagination. Now, there are some out there that are. We're going to look at some in a second. But as far as any of the ones we've covered up until this point, I would not count on them being a super light fast product that I would expose to light on a sunlight, direct sunlight on a constant basis. They're better for sketchbook work and reproduction work. But the truth of the matter is, who really exposes their work to direct sunlight on a regular basis? I personally don't know any artist who does. And that is the last of the watercolor pencils in the student budget. And now we're going to go ahead and get to wrapping this video up. And we're going to go into the professional watercolor pencil category here. And when I say professional, I mean based on my use and my knowledge of the product, its history, the different companies that are claiming that the pencils are light fast, different things of that nature, okay? All right, we are going to start this category off with, oh, I almost lost that. They're going to slip off on me. Okay, this category off with Koh-I-Noor Mondeluz 72 count of watercolor pencils. Now, there may be some controversy and some people out there who disagree with me on this being a professional pencil. But again, I made the disclaimer, this is based on my use and what I know about watercolor pencils. And for me, this would fall into the professional range of pencils. Now, whether you want to consider it like the introductory professional range, that's on you. Label it what you want, but this is just how I particularly feel. These are some amazing, beautiful pencils. Oh my God. I had so much fun. I honestly don't have anything bad to say about these pencils. I really don't. You can get them off Amazon. I think they are readily available. I haven't seen, excuse me, sharpening again. I haven't seen, every time I go look for them, they are there. They're available. Oh my God, so buttery, so nice. So nice, guys. Again, I don't have anything bad to say about them. They check all the boxes. They're smooth. They have nice coverage. They sharpen well. They hold a point. They're good quality pencils. They're not uncomfortable in the hand. Now, I will say the pencils do not have color names and they do not have light fast ratings, which in my opinion would typically declassify them for qualifying for a professional range pencil. But I have to eat my own words on this one because the performance of this, based in comparison to all the other pencils that we just covered, they don't stand a chance as far as the pigment payoff, as far as the way the pigment disperses and smooth. Look how smooth and silky that is, and how far across the paper the pigment went before it started losing any of its saturation. This is what I mean. These are beautiful pencils. This is Koh-I-Noor Mondeluz. I don't think they are the cheapest pencil, but they're definitely not the most expensive pencil. I cannot remember what I paid for them. I want to say they was somewhere in the $40 range. I think I used a coupon or something. Oh my goodness, it's been so long ago. You'll have to go back and check out the review for the pencils, and I'll tell you in their review what I found the pencils for at that time. I typically do in all my reviews. But these are really nice pencils. I don't think you can go wrong with them. Of course, I recommend them. Now, I'm not saying run out and buy them, but if you ever have the opportunity and you want to take a step up to a professional grade watercolor pencil, I don't think this is a bad place to start at all. So let's see. Next, we are going to look at Prismacolor Premier 12 count of watercolor pencils. Here is one that I feel like got a really bad rep. A lot of people that I saw review these pencils didn't like them. And I personally didn't see the complete issue with them. I mean, don't get me wrong, compared to other pencils, they are not the greatest. I think that they are kind of goopy. When they dry down, they give you this feel of a budget paint, if that makes sense. Let me see if you see there. They sort of give you this feel that they're more of a budget paint than like a smooth watercolor pencil. I hope you guys can see the difference in that I was talking about. Let me see how well I can get this to disperse out on this paper. You can drag it out, but it loses its vibrancy when you drag it out that much. Like when you work to get the pigment really dissolved, I feel like you can see more white of the paper than you can with, say, like those Arteza, that Koh-I-Noor, that tinted watercolor pencil by Steadtler. I don't know. I've always had mixed feelings about these. I think in the review I said that I like the pencils, which wasn't a fib. I don't dislike the pencils. But of course, the more you know and the more you grow, sometimes your opinions change. And they wouldn't be the first set that I recommend, but I don't think they're bad. And I don't think that it's a terrible set if it's something that you already have. I believe they can be used and they can be worked with. Probably wouldn't be the very first set I grab, but they can be used and they can be worked with. Next up, we are going to take a look at the Derwent family. We're looking at Derwent Inktense 12 count. Now, you can classify this as a watercolor pencil. You can classify this as a water ink pencil, whatever you want to classify it as. It falls into the watercolor pencil category. These are some super vibrant, super rich pencils. Now, of course, Derwent is known for its pencil products, is known for producing a high quality product, and it's known for producing light fast products. Now, I will be honest, the light fast information is not on these pencils. They do contain color names, but the site does give you information into the light fast and the testability of the light fasting that they did in order to produce the product. So, you know, Derwent is one of those companies that I'd be willing to take their word for it if they told me that their products are light fast. A reputation like theirs would not be something that they want to see destroyed based on giving out false information on their products. I don't believe anyway. So think they're a really nice pencil. They are not the most budget friendly pencil, especially when you start getting into the larger range. I personally want the 72 count, which is currently on sale. Actually, now this one I happen to know the price of. I think there's like a 50% sale going on them on Amazon, so they're like $94.95. And I'm contemplating, I've been trying to fight the want monster, but you know, because I really do enjoy working with these. I work with these a lot in my mixed media, my journal creations, my card creations. When I'm creating my own pattern paper hand design, I use these because I know once they dry down, they're going to be permanent. They're not going to run. So I love, oh, I guess I didn't test them. I love these pencils. Like if I was going to buy somebody a gift, I would buy them a 12 pack of these pencils. I buy them a 12 pack of the Steadtler Tinted pencils. You see, you can see how much I use these. Like some of them don't even have lids on them at the moment. Love these pencils. Watch this. Watch how bright this is. This is crazy. I really did not need to put that much pigment down at all. I really did not. But just, if you've never encountered these pencils, this is what all the hype is about. It's kind of like the cat's meow. You guys heard me use that phrase before. Like, yeah, this is the cat's meow right here. I mean, seriously. Seriously, that's all you need. I mean, I want the 72 color range, but those 12 pencils right there are pretty rounded. You can mix them together to make pretty much whatever color you want. I think these are very, very nice. Definitely put these on your list. If you don't have them, you know, like I normally don't tell you, oh, just go buy it. But yeah, you know, put these on your list one day. You want to give yourself a gift. Somebody wants to buy you a birthday gift. You want to drop hints for Christmas. Put ink tints on it. No matter what the set is, you know, maybe you can get somebody to buy you a bigger set. But put those on your list. Nice pencil. 12 set is good enough, but you know, do you, boo? All right, next we're gonna take a look at another Derwent product, and we're looking at the Derwent regular watercolor pencils. This is a 36 count. Another product that I think is really good. I have, you know, a lot of these pencils weren't bad. You know, there was just a few misses, but I don't normally keep products that I don't like terribly. So a lot of these you're gonna hear me say some pretty decent things about. This is the 36 count of watercolor pencils. Now, let me be clear in saying that these are nowhere near as bright and vibrant as the Inktense. And if I had to make a recommendation between the Inktense and the regular watercolor pencils, it would definitely be the Inktense. With that being said, this is a beautiful pencil. I feel that you remember me saying that Arteza kind of, which one? No, Royal and Langnickel, I think it was. It kind of gave you that old world feel. Same here. I feel like they're sort of like a traditional watercolor rolled up in a pencil. They're really nice. They are. They have really nice color payoff. The wood that these are made of seem to be a little bit different quality than most watercolor pencils. And to me, they sort of have a sweet smell. I don't know if that makes any sense. But let's just take a look here really quick. They glide across the paper, really nice. A lot like their counterpart Inktense. The only thing is the color payoff is not nearly as bright and vibrant. It's like the baby brother or the baby sister to the Inktense, whichever gender floats your boat. Yeah, see, that's beautiful pencil though. It disperses just as well. It moves and covers just as well. You don't lose any luster of this particular range. It's just not as bright as the Inktense. And I think that's pretty close to the same color there. So you can see the difference. The Inktense is just a little bit brighter color payoff. And the Inktense retains a little bit more of that brightness as it shifts from wet to dry. But this is the Derwent. This is Derwent too. And this is their regular watercolor pencil. I don't think you could go wrong with either one of those. Again, none of these in the professional range are just going to be super duper cheap. But none of the things that I bring you on the channel are super expensive either. And if they are, I'll warn you when I first unbox the product. Now this one, again, $30-$40 range for this set if I'm not mistaken. I think it's well worth it though. I think it is. Next up and last set we're going to be taking a look at today happens to be my absolute favorite. Yes, I did on purpose save my favorite set of watercolor pencils that I currently have based on the current experience that I have. This is my favorite set. Now, I know there's going to be some artists that say, oh, there are much better sets out there. I'm sure there are. I just haven't experienced them yet. So here we have the Caran 30 count of Supracolor soft watercolor pencils. These are my absolute favorite pencil in the entire world so far. Now, if I ever should try one that I like more than this, I'm going to happily let you guys know, and I will change that. But as of it stands right now, what you have seen in this watercolor tour are the pencils that I've encountered. So of all those pencils, these are the ones that are my fave. As you can see, they're kind of coming up above the 10. I removed the tray that they're in because I have purchased additional pencils open stock to add to this collection, and I'm going to continue to purchase additional pencils open stock to add to this collection until I have the entire range. Sounds like craziness, I know, but I had already started at the 36 count set, and I didn't want to buy a larger set and run the risk of the same colors being in there. Although I'm not sure if Caran does that. I'm gonna have to research it to see. Anyway, let's grab one of these pencils so we can go ahead and wrap this up. And let's take a look. Look at that swatch sheet. Look at there. Look at that range of colors. Look how pretty they are. And I love the fact that you have traditional color names, you know, like lemon yellow, yellow, scarlet, Indian red, sepia, golden ochre, which is like yellow ochre, ochre, indigo blue. You know, you got turquoise. Now, don't get me wrong, they have their color names in here too, but a lot of them are so recognizable. Periwinkle, violet, Prussian, ultramarine, cobalt. Now, that blue jeans color is, I don't know what that is. It's definitely a color that looks like it's got some white mixed into it. But the point of the matter is, I love these pencils. Let's do a swatch real quick. All right. And of all the pencils, this, of course, would be my #1 recommended pencil. But let me be clear. These pencils are not cheap. Okay? You hear me? These pencils are not cheap. Don't say I didn't warn you. But they are worth every penny, in my opinion. And I'm going to continue to pay them the money that they charge for them until I have the entire collection. I actually want the collection above this one, which is the Museum Aquarelle collection of Caran watercolor pencils, which are on my list. I have been dropping hints left and right about those pencils. But look at that. Beautiful, silky, smooth coverage. I mean, it covered so well. Oh my goodness. Dispersed so easily with water. Very light touch. Didn't require a lot at all. I didn't have to do any scrubbing. I can't spell. Lord. Supracolor soft. And this is Caran. All right. So, can't go wrong. Legs don't break. Hold a real sharp point. Doesn't wear down pigment really fast. Little bit of debris fall out, not much at all. Didn't experience any kind of like smudging with the pencil. Although I do always suggest that you be very careful, because most watercolor pencils, pretty much every one I've ever encountered, has some type of debris fall out, even if it's in the minute form. So there's always a chance of running your hand through that and smudging on your paper. So I always suggest, no matter what brand of pencil you use when it comes to watercolor pencils, always be wary of that. So there you have it, guys. There is a tour of all of the watercolor pencils that I have currently used, tested, and reviewed. You can find a review in the Thrifty Apprentice product review playlist for like pretty much all of those, I think, maybe except the Inktense. But I'll link that playlist in the video description, along with other things that we normally link. If you liked anything about this video, please give the video a thumbs up. Hopefully you heard some information, or you saw some products that you were interested in. Now you know a little bit more about them. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you'll know when all the new content come out. We are going to be cracking open a brand new set of watercolor pencils next Friday with an unboxing, swatching, and painting demo. So stay tuned for that. Be sure to hit the notification bell. Sharing is caring, so share the video. Video description got all of the links. Facebook group, all artists and crafters are welcome. most recommended product list where you may find some of the things that we covered today, and Etsy shop in case anyone is interested. Thank you guys so much for joining me here. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. See you next time. And remember, as I always tell you, just keep painting and crafting.